They told you the gods were myth, but what if one of them never left? From the moment you could read, they fed you watered-down stories, sanitized myths dressed up as bedtime tales. You were told the gods were symbols, metaphors, echoes of ancient imagination. But not all of them faded into fiction. One of them encoded his voice into stone, into rhythm, into time itself. His name was Thoth, scribe of the gods, architect of reality, keeper of balance. And he didn't vanish. He waited for the world to get loud enough, lost enough to start listening again. His words weren't meant for temples, they were meant for you. Now, when the system is cracking, when the distractions are wearing thin, when your soul starts whispering questions your mind can't silence. You didn't find this by accident. Thoth's message isn't just ancient, it's alive, and if you're still here reading this, it's already waking something up inside you. They never told you that the truth was written in emerald, not paper, not stone, but emerald. Chosen for a reason. It's not just a gemstone. It's a symbol of immortality, of the heart, of something that survives fire and pressure. The emerald tablets, attributed to Thoth himself, aren't just relics, they're transmissions. Energy encoded in language. And they're not ancient stories meant for scholars or historians. They're keys, blueprints, tools to wake up minds that have been put to sleep. You've heard the phrase, as above, so below. It didn't come from a self-help book, it came from those tablets. And what does it really mean? That the structure of the cosmos mirrors the structure of your mind, that what you do in your thoughts ripples through your reality, that the universe isn't a random accident, it's a reflection, and you're not just some speck floating in it. You're a participant, a co-creator, but they didn't want you to know that. They told you the emerald tablets were legend, that Thoth was a myth, that Atlantis was a fantasy, but look around. Everything they dismissed as myth is being rediscovered by science, by metaphysics, by people like you who are starting to remember. These aren't bedtime stories, they're forbidden knowledge, wrapped in metaphor to protect them from those who would twist them for control. Or worse, erase them completely, and that's exactly what happened. You were never meant to read these words, not according to them, because once you do, things start to unravel. Suddenly, life as you've been taught no longer fits. You start to question your identity, your purpose, your past, and you begin to see the system for what it really is. A grand distraction, a cage decorated with convenience, filled with noise and illusion, all designed to keep you from looking inward, where the real power waits. And that's why the tablets were hidden in plain sight. Not locked away in vaults, but buried under mockery, ridicule, and misdirection. So you'd never take them seriously, so you'd laugh them off before you even read them. Because if you did read them, truly read them, you might see that everything you've been searching for is already inside you, that the universe is mental, that energy follows thought, that time is a loop, and you've been here before. Some of this goes far beyond what we're allowed to say here. That's why we created Insights Academy, our free newsletter, sharing what can't be said on YouTube. Get it now in the description and receive a free copy of the Kybalion, only for a limited time. These tablets speak of soul ascension, traveling through dimensions, of meeting beings not of this earth, but of this consciousness, of remembering your eternal nature, not as an idea, but as a lived experience. They speak of the great cycles, how civilizations rise, forget, fall and rise again, and how, in each cycle, there are always a few who remember, who carry the flame, who hear the voice buried beneath all the noise. That voice is speaking again, right now, not through thunder or stone carvings, but through resonance, through the chill in your spine when something clicks, through the synchronicities that are too precise to be chance, through the feeling you've had since you were a child, that there's something more, something ancient, something you can't quite name, but never fully forgot. The emerald tablets don't preach, they don't command, they remind, because you already know, you've always known, but knowledge without awareness is asleep. And that's what the system banks on, that you'll stay asleep, that you'll chase temporary pleasures and empty achievements, while the real treasure, the remembrance of who and what you are, gathers dust in some mental attic, locked behind 1,000 distractions. You were meant for more. That's not flattery, that's a fact. And Thoth didn't write to impress future scholars. He wrote to activate future awakeners. That includes you. The question now is simple. Are you willing to remember? Why do you think modern life is so loud, so rushed, so flooded with noise and distraction? Because silence is dangerous. Stillness is revolutionary. In silence, you start to hear. In stillness, you start to see. The system fears your awakening because an awakened mind is a sovereign mind. It can't be sold to. It can't be scared into submission. It doesn't look outside for validation because it has remembered the truth inside. Thoth didn't offer comfort. He offered clarity. Not the kind that pacifies, but the kind that liberates. He knew that to awaken is to burn through illusions, to strip away false identities, to walk through the fire of unlearning and emerge, not as something new, but as something ancient made conscious again. You're not on a linear path, you're on a spiral. And the moment you feel déjà vu, the moment you sense you've heard this before, it's not imagination, it's memory. It's the echo of your soul saying, you've been here. This is your moment to choose differently. Not to repeat the sleepwalking, but to awaken, to embody, to remember. And so this message, it's not a lecture, it's a mirror, a resonance, a signal sent out across time, waiting for the right frequency to align. You aligned, not by chance, but by readiness. You don't need to believe it all right now. You just need to feel the pulse in your chest, the stillness behind your thoughts, the voice that's always been yours, not loud, not forceful, but steady, clear, ancient. This is your invitation, not to escape, but to embody, not to worship the past, but to activate the future, your future, the one written not in stone, but in frequency. So the question remains not, is this real, but are you ready? Ready to remember, ready to rise, ready to reclaim the divine technology that was always within you. You are not here by accident. You are the continuation of a lineage of remembering. The torch is in your hand now. What will you do with its flame? It's so loud, so fast, so overwhelming, because silence is dangerous to the system. In silence you hear the truth. And the truth is, the veil between this world and the next is paper thin. You don't need to die to access the higher planes. You just need to align. Thoth taught that when the frequency of the soul matches the frequency of the higher realms, the gates open. Not through effort, but through resonance. There's a reason you've always felt drawn to the stars. Why the sound of a crystal bowl or the hum of a mantra does something to you that words can't. Why certain symbols give you chills. Why sacred architecture feels familiar. You've been there before. You've walked the plains, and you're not learning how to ascend. You're remembering how to return. You're not becoming spiritual. You've always been that. You're just peeling away the interference. This is what they try to erase with dogma and doctrine. Your ability to access the divine directly, to receive downloads from source without a middleman, to heal, to know, to travel, to connect without permission. It's not a new age, it's ancient, it's yours. And the moment you stop looking outside yourself and start tuning your own instrument, the signal comes in, loud and clear. Because you were never disconnected, just distracted. The current has always been flowing. Thoth just left you the map to remember how to plug back in. You've been conditioned to believe you're alone, that you are a singular identity, cut off from everything around you. An isolated mind, a separate self, fighting for meaning in a chaotic world. That's the illusion. A carefully constructed lie sold to you through culture, education, media, and language. The truth? You've never been separate. Not from others, not from nature, not even from the stars. Thoth didn't whisper about unity. He declared it. He taught the law of one, that all consciousness, at its core, is one field, one presence expressing itself through many forms. And the moment you accept this, not as theory, but as truth, everything begins to shift. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance. You start seeing yourself as a co-expression of the source. Every person you meet, a mirror. Every experience, a message. There is no other, just different angles of the same light, different frequencies of the same song. And when you tune into that unity, the noise of division fades, the fear of comparison dissolves, the endless competition loses its grip. Because how can you compete with yourself? How can you judge what is simply another version of you walking a different path? This isn't about passivity. It's not a call to ignore the darkness in the world. It's about remembering that even the shadow is part of the same whole. That even your worst mistakes, your greatest fears, your most painful losses were all part of the spiral, bringing you back to yourself. The law of one doesn't mean everything is pleasant, it means everything is purposeful. And that the separation you've been sold was never real. It was programmed, because a united people cannot be controlled. Division is how empires are built, how identities are manufactured, how fear is weaponized. If you're always looking for someone to blame, you'll never look inward. If you're convinced the enemy is out there, you'll never realize the power is in here. Thoth knew that unity isn't weakness. It's the foundation of true strength, a kind of strength that doesn't come from domination, but from coherence, alignment, harmony. You've tasted this before. In moments of silence, in deep presence with someone you love, in the unspoken understanding between strangers. It's a feeling, not a fact, a memory, not a concept. You were born with it, and the world taught you to forget, to label, to separate, to compete. But even as you followed the script, something inside you resisted. That ache for something deeper, that's your soul remembering where it came from. The law of one doesn't erase individuality, it enhances it. When you realize we're all fractals of the same source, you stop trying to fit into someone else's box. You stop seeking validation. You start honoring your own unique frequency, not because it's better, but because it's yours. And in doing that, you unconsciously give others permission to do the same. That's how the shift happens, not through force, but through frequency. Thoth wasn't speaking to the ego, he was speaking to the soul, to the part of you that knows. You've lived 1,000 lives in 1,000 forms. To the part that sees no enemy, only evolution. No stranger, only self. And once you truly grasp that, fear dies. Because you stop seeing life as something happening to you. You start seeing it as something happening through you, with you, for you. Not separate from the universe, but as the universe becoming conscious of itself through your eyes. Unity isn't just the future. It's the truth that's always been beneath the illusion. You don't need to seek it. You need to remember it. And that remembering begins now